Obviously, Stefon Diggs ends up as a Houston Texan. That's a story in Houston as well as in Buffalo, because is Josh Allen going to have enough weapons to be able to keep up with Patrick Mahomes and him? Now we're seeing videos of him and Keon Coleman seemingly being an immediate peanut butter and jelly, an immediate match. There's threading of needles, there's deep balls, there's big-time catches. Has that been the story of camp on the offensive side, Sal?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's really, the question coming into camp, guys, was what does this wide receiver core look like? I mean, you lost 260 targets basically between Stefon Diggs and Gabe Davis. Here's a crazy stat. The only wide receiver on this team right now who actually has caught a regular season pass from Josh Allen is Khalil Shakir. Everybody else is brand new. So there are a lot of questions about that. Then obviously a lot was made about the trade with the Chiefs, where the Chiefs go up and get Xavier Worthy and the Bills get Keon Coleman. Can he separate at the NFL level? That was one of the big questions. One thing we've seen so far, not only separation, but because he can separate a little bit, and it's not like he's blowing by people, guys. He just has such a great catch radius, right? Josh can put the ball to a spot where only he can get it. We've seen a lot of that. Now, it hasn't been perfect for Keon. He had a drop one day that could have been a fumble or a drop either way. It wasn't a great play, but really that's been the only knock. Otherwise, every single day, this guy is making a highlight reel catch in some fashion for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and I think Bean came out and said, it might have been on our program, I don't remember, or in one of his interviews, Josh Allen wanted Keon. Scouted him, wanted Keon. And if you saw him at Florida State, he was a grown-ass man. Oh, yeah. He was a grown-ass man out there. And these younger wide receivers are seemingly catching on quicker than they ever have before. How is Keon Coleman being received by the team? Because I remember a lot of footage from Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs dancing.
Yep.
We got music playing. How are the vibes? Do we have a similar situation with this Buffalo Bills team?
Yeah, so Keon actually showed up in Buffalo, his very first press conference. He had this big yellow coat on, if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
Kind of went viral video, right? And then he went over and he had some of the candy that was set out for the media. So right away, he kind of made his presence known here in Buffalo. So there's a big mural. It's on Hurdle Avenue in Buffalo. It's a really great district. People go, restaurants, and there's this big mural that had Josh Allen next to Stefon Diggs for the last several years. Well, about a week after the draft, and they're both in their uniform and they got their helmet on. And about a week after the draft, you drive by, Josh is still in the mural, but Stefon was changed to a guy in a yellow coat, which is now Keon Coleman, obviously.
Oh.
So he's already being very well received in Buffalo. And you know what?
Get the hell out of
town with this team. I mean, yeah, listen.
The other way.
I think that Keon's kind of helping a lot of fans, and people forget about Stefon Diggs a little bit, but we all know Stefon Diggs is an elite wide receiver. It's going to be really interesting. The Bills have gone to this model, guys, where kind of like Kansas City last year, it's really going to be more about the sum than the parts at wide receiver. I don't think they want to be in the $30 million a year market range for wide receivers. You had a guy at 30 years old. You got a second-round pick for him. This is going to be more about, hey, let's get everybody. Everybody eats. It doesn't have to be about one guy getting a lot of the targets and having that true alpha. So we'll see if it works out. But I think so far so good when you sprinkle him in with Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir. And to be honest with you guys, Dalton Kade, who I think even at tight end is in for a tremendous season.
Yeah, since drafting Dalton Kade, the thought was he's going to be wide receiver. He's going to get the ball a lot. And we had a chance to chat with him at Utah, which he's an alumni of. He seemed to be a cool guy, seemed to have everything. Another year of development, another year of growth with Brady. Obviously, he gets dropped in there like midway through the year. I mean, I like the Buffalo Bills. Quiet. It's quiet this year, Sal. Go ahead, AJ.
So it is quiet. I wanted to ask about the expectations there. Like people in Buffalo fans, what's it like? We know the last few years, I feel like everyone saying, hey, these guys need to go out there and win a Super Bowl. Josh Allen is so good. He's unbelievable. Like what about now heading into this season? Are they as optimistic as they were before?
Internally, they absolutely are. I'll tell you this. Every time I do a show like this around the country or go on the radio, people ask me about are the Bills stepping back. I mean, you think about all the leadership that walked out the door, whether by choice by the Bills or free agency with Gabe Davis. I mean, think about Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, Gabe Davis, Stefon Diggs. The list goes on. Everybody asks about it. My response is, as long as you have number 17, you're going to be just fine. Let it go from there. And I think this team, they have talked about how they actually prefer to play under the radar. They prefer being now a team that can go out and be the hunter and not the hunted because people are underestimating them. So I think you're getting back to really kind of a team mentality of it's a little bit of us against the world. It's not us coming into the year as the 1 or 2 Super Bowl favorites. But they're still up there. They're still the favorite to win the East. They're still one of the top 3 or 4 in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl because everybody knows this is still a good roster with a good front office and a good coaching staff.
The expectations are always going to be high within a building because they know the vision, they know the belief before anybody else. Brandon Beane, He's a good football guy.
Oh, yeah.
Good football brain. And this is going to happen, whenever you have success. I mean, the Niners have seemingly had to deal with it every single offseason. They've been able to figure out ways to pay everybody. But the Patriots had to deal with it for 20 years. I'm not saying the Bills are anywhere near the Patriots. Okay, we're talking about...
Not even close.
Okay. Patriots fans obviously are going to say that. But it's like this team has been very good for a sustained amount of time here. So now you're going to have to evolve. You're going to have to change. We're watching that. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. D-But's got a question for you, Paisan.
Yes, Sal. You mentioned a lot of that leadership leaving the building. You mentioned Hyde, Poyer, Tre'Davious White as well. What's your early reviews from kind of that revamped secondary so far through training camp?
Well, they signed Mike Edwards, who played in Tampa under Todd Bowles, won a Super Bowl, played in Kansas City under Steve Spagnuolo, won a Super Bowl. Those are both very similar defenses to Sean McDermott's. However, he's been injured. He's out now week to week with a hamstring injury. So that's kind of forced Cole Bishop, a second-round pick out of Utah, into a little bit of a role here. Well, guess what, guys? Today, Cole Bishop went out with a bit of an injury. So you got a few guys that are a little bit banged up that they're trying to work through. But the reviews on the secondary overall, I think because of who the coach is, I think because of the system, are still going to be pretty good. They're gonna be able to keep things in front of them like they normally do because of the system. At the corner position, I really like Christian Benford. I think he's very underrated for the year last year. Russell Douglas at the trade deadline. The X factor here is Kaiir Elam. Can Kaiir Elam finally play like a first-round pick he was just a couple of years ago? Even give him baseline third cornerback level play. That would be great. So far, I think he's had a pretty good camp. It wasn't a great day today. Keon Coleman beat him a couple of times. But I'm a little concerned about their corner depth, guys. They need to make sure they have something more on the outside because, as you know, as the season goes on, you have bumps and bruises.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch how it all comes together for the Bills. Because to your point you made earlier, when you have 17 on the team, he can literally lead the team in rushing, throwing. He can do whatever you need. And there's one guy that I think they need to keep feeding. And it became a little bit of a thing last year. Ty Schmidt has a question for you.
Yeah, Sal, last year after Ken Dorsey got let go and Joe Brady came in, James Cook, his carries noticeably went up and he had a much bigger impact for the team.
Let James Cook was the one-liner.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people predicting, hey, this guy actually might lead the NFL in rushing this year. Is he going to get a massive uptick in his workload when you consider that the receivers are a little bit more of an unknown and they don't want to put as much on Josh's shoulders? What's the outlook for him going into this year?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me, Ty, about James, because I do think he had a tremendous year last year that kind of largely flew under the radar nationally because of how good of the numbers were. I think he was fourth in rushing or all scrimmage yards and sixth in the other. Had a tremendous year, and they really leaned on him, as you said, towards the end of the year. This is going to go back to the point I made earlier. The Bills are building this offense, guys, with Joe Brady where, and they've said this, there's no X, there's no Z. They're going to be able to flex James Cook out. They're going to be using Dalton Kade in the slot. And let's remember, Curtis Samuel has had like 80 or 90 carries in his career. Had 40-something carries with Joe Brady playing like a running back position. He was a former running back, slot position, jet sweeps, things like that. And it's a long way of me saying James Cook's going to fit into that mold. They're going to use these guys in all different ways. So, yes, I think James Cook, it might not be by volume of touches, but you're going to see him do everything on the Buffalo Bills this year, whether that's in the backfield, whether that's lined up in the slot, lined up out wide. No matter what it is, James Cook's going to be a part of it. But that's what the Bills are going to do. They're building an offense here where no defensive coordinator can go into a meeting room and say, this is where they're lining up. This is how we're going to defend them. We're going to have to take care and watch for everything because we don't know what they're going to do.
Everybody is the New Orleans Saints. Taysom Hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the Buffalo Bills. Good luck, New England Patriots. Is Judon going to be on the field?
I mean, they're not looking down. They should be looking, Miami and New York. Okay?
Good luck, Miami. Is Tua?
Jordan Poyer will be.
Good luck, New York Jets. Is Hassan Reddick? Is there any drama up there? None, right?
No, that's the thing. So, look, I think Stefon Diggs is a tremendous player, and I would never say that he's selfish or caused any drama last year, but because of his presence, because of his personality, it always seemed like there was something going on in Buffalo, and everybody would point to and what's going on. Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen, whether it was real or perceived, we don't know. There's none of that this year. I believe firmly that's part of the reason why he's not here anymore, because they just wanted to get back to having no drama. Guys, there's no drama here. The only big storyline we're talking about, a couple of them, Matt Milano's return to injury, Von Miller's return to injury, and Josh Allen's leadership, which is kind of morphing more into that guy who might have to kind of get in your face a little bit more because he doesn't have those other leaders around him anymore. And that's kind of been a bit of a story here. Josh is always, as you guys know, kind of a happy-go-lucky fit in with the guys. I think he's had a little bit of an evolution in his leadership here, knowing so much other leadership has walked out the door. But that's not drama. That's just those are the things we're just talking about.
Getting close can build that up too. Getting close and then devastating heartbreak and then shit talk. And then being that you can kind of evolve and shape and kind of change how you view everything, because you can get a little bit more detail oriented. And I think that is very natural. And I think that's what all the greats, the super greats do. I'm excited to see what Buffalo does. I'm excited to see how you show up next time on this show. This one, full mic stand,
unreal
headset, probably has a cough button.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Probably has a cough button.
I don't have that right now.
Cheap.
You guys got me on that one.
You're the man, ladies and gentlemen, Sal Capaccio.
Yeah.